There are 8 criminal charges here. What is he looking at if convicted?
We won't be around if he gets the maximum. Let me put it that way. And you're much younger than I am. It is not likely that defendants get the maximum sentence. But the mail fraud, the wire fraud, the conspiracies, the maximum is 20 years. And judges, of course, in sentencing are going to factor a lot of things in, none of which we know about at this time. But he's facing many, many, many years in prison.
Bernie Madoff former attorney, Ira Lee Sorkin, visited with CNBC to speculate what the U.S. justice system has in store for FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. Although too soon to tell, it appears SBF won't be home in time to cut the Christmas goose. Please remember to like and subscribe.
You know, we've also had this unusual development of hearing from Sam Bankman-Fried over the last few weeks. Numerous times he spoke with our colleague Andrew at the Deal Book Conference, Good Morning America. I know you publicly reprimanded him for that and would tell your client not to do that. But it sounds like what his thread is that there was no intentional wrongdoing, and he wasn't aware of any commingling of the funds from FTX customers to Alameda Research. How difficult is that going to be for him to argue?
Well, the first time I was quoted on this case, I specifically said he should shut up. I use those words because the only people who are listening to what he is saying are the regulators and the prosecutors. If he's out there trying to convince the general public that he did nothing wrong, no one's going to pay attention to him. What's going to count is what he says and what can be used against him in court.
Mr. Sorkin added that SBF does have options when dealing with the legal system, although not many.
The statement that Kate Rooney read to us, that he's exploring his legal options right now, what do you think he and his team are doing and discussing? I mean, first there's the issue of whether he gets extradited, right?
Yes, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. But what his legal team is thinking about now, and it factors in, where does he go from here? Does he decide to fight the charges? Does he decide he wants to cooperate and cut a cooperation deal with the U.S. attorney? The SEC and the CFTC in this I don't want to diminish their role, because most of the work done here is done by those two agencies, not the U.S. Attorney's Office, and that's not diminishing the role of the U.S. Attorney. But the SEC and the CFTC have the expertise in ferreting out the complexity of these types of transactions. In order to look at it from that perspective, what will generally happen is the SEC and the CFTC will step back. Their actions will be stayed. In other words, the Department of Justice does not want the civil cases to go ahead, because the Department of Justice is concerned that if the civil cases do proceed ahead, it will impinge negatively on the ability to carry out the criminal case.
What do you make of the fact that he was arrested the night before he was supposed to testify before the House Financial Services Committee?
Yeah, I'm not, that doesn't bother me at all. It could be that the timing was, and I'm speculating, totally speculating. There was some discussion perhaps that he was secreting money around the world in different countries, that he was going to skip to another country that didn't have a strong extradition treaty with the United States. And the government moved in as quickly as possible to prevent that from happening. That's pure speculation. I don't know. But it's not the first time that the government has moved quickly when when that evidence is out there and they're concerned about what the defendant is going to do.
Senator Pat Toomey also chimed in to give his predictions on the indictment.
Senator, aren't there times where investigators look forward to letting someone testify in front of a House hearing under oath, because they're going to say a lot of things they might not say before the authorities are actually called in? I mean, there's a huge uproar that the DOJ, the day before it was going to happen, that they decided to move. Now, I don't know what would have come out about political contributions or anything else, but is there anything? Does it smell weird? Is there anything going on? Or when they're ready, the grand jury met on, I don't know, when was it, Thursday or Friday? Yeah, so they were ready to go. I understand that, but one more day, would that have made a difference if you let this guy come on and you know, just knowing him, he would have said a bunch of stuff that could be used later. Would have been very valuable.
Yeah, I'm not going to second guess at this point their timing decision, Joe. I don't know what was driving that, but it is shocking the kind of interviews that Sam Bankman-Fried has given. I can't believe he's got a lawyer anywhere near him who's saying that that's a good idea.
Right.
I think it's going to be a very, very difficult thing for him to spin his way out of this. It really look, we don't know all the facts yet, but based on the allegations, based on what is publicly known, based on some things that he has said, and now the charges against him, I think he's in a heap of trouble.